How you guys doing? It's Monday, May 18th. As I said last time, I cannot believe how fast time is flying. And I want to thank you guys so much for choosing to spend your Monday, Wednesday, Fridays with me. And hopefully we'll have a quilt done at the end that we can call it our Corona quilt for lack of better words or whatever. So I hope a lot of you have watched the master class. I know I had some issues with the how I'm looking you in the eye right now, and I know I had some issues with the camera situation, and then I basically had a teleprompter that was on my computer, so my eyes weren't straight on you. And Ricky's brain hasn't been through menopause, so he can remember stuff better than me. So I've gotten some ideas. Excuse me. I've had some requests for classes down the road. We're going to get through all this. But one is how to build a stash responsibly. I don't think there's anything responsible about when you build your stash, but I would certainly be happy to talk about what I seek and how much I buy and all that kind of stuff. Somebody else wanted to know, beside me, I have a TV tray that I have my ironing pad on. Let me move this over and show you. And here, it's right here. I've got my little mat on it. But what I did was I went to either Target or Walmart, I forget which one, and I got a wooden TV tray. I guess I can show you. I got everything precariously put out here. Okay, so here's my little wooden TV tray. But down at the bottom, I had my son-in-law cut off the legs as high as he could until you started getting into the crossbar there, all right? So it takes it down just low enough that I'm not having to iron with my arm jacked up like this. So it's wooden. I think it was about $10 or something like that. And again, I don't know if I got it at Walmart. I don't know if I got it at Target, but it has worked out really, really nicely. The popping. John is now my director. He said, I can hear the popping sound. So thanks, John. So anyways, there's that. Another question is, what is the fabric line that I'm using? And it is Roseberry Cottage by Andover, right behind us. But I'm being a little bit naughty. I am adding some other fabrics. For example, I saw this at Bay Quilts, and it is Bay Quilts in Richmond, California, and it is Painted Meadow by Moda. And I'm thinking that that's what's going to be my flowers up there. Originally, I was thinking I might use our line that we're playing with and, cut some of these out. Basically, it's called broderie purse when you cut out the actual image and then you applique it down. But I think I might go a little bit bolder. And this is the case of why you build your stash. This is the case why you have friends that have a healthy stash. Because when I realized I only had a fat quarter, it might be enough. My friend Robin said, I got a ton, an absolute ton. So she graciously is letting me borrow it. I hope I don't have to cut into it because I don't want to. Apparently she's got yardage of it, but gosh, I love this. Again, I don't know if they still have it, but it's Bay Quilts in Richmond, California. And it is called Painted Meadow by Moda. It also comes with a dark background too. It's a great little bundle. So I do collect fabric. I collect friends with fabric, and that way I just doubled my stash. So I want you to have your pattern book with you today, all right? I want you to have your pattern book with you. And we are going to go to page 11, and we're going to do the basket block. There's a lot of innuendo in this block. It can be tricky because there are a lot of biases. It's basically half of a lemoine, but I want you to look at your pattern while I'm telling you things so that you can reference it when you go back to sew it. And I I love broderie purse, Betty Joe. I've never really done it, and it's not too difficult. So again, that's when you use the fabric, you cut it out, and there you go. Oh, the other thing people wanted to know about is in the pattern, the birds were, the applique that's in this pattern, this one that you have, is different than the original pattern because we were using Editas fabric and there were birds in that I cut out. So I made you a stylized bird for the applique and all that. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I am getting ahead of myself. So, okay, let me get this out of the way. Get out your paper, get your pencil, and this is a case where you really are going to want to follow along in your book, okay? So I love this block. Let me just grab one off the wall here. Here we go. Let me get down here. I think it's very, very fresh. It does have challenges because you have biases all over the place, and there are actual piecing sequences that you have to do. So if you look at number 3, if you look at number 3, right down here, I have you wait. Oh, we didn't have arrows. Well, oh yeah, we do. Right there. You'll sew this seam first, make that seam number 1. Then we're going to do seam number 2 going out, and then seam number 3 going down. It's very important that you do it that way, all right? But first, we have to cut our little diamonds. I wanted all my diamonds to be different, all right? So the pattern, I got to get my stuff out of the way here. The pattern calls for you to cut 4 rectangles. Whoops, just hit that. Four rectangles at, look at my thing, C, A, B, C. I really hate reading patterns. C, 1 3/4 by 4 1/4. All right, that's what we've got going on here. And now you're going to have to use your ruler with lines, because what we have to do is we have to take off here, here, and we have to take off here. Just about all rulers have these lines on it, these crazy lines that are going in all different directions. And the line in this case that we're going to use is going to be the 45. Where is it on here? There we go, the 45, like that. If you want, you can put a little piece of tape or something so you can see it. It takes, I mean, even right now when I'm going to demo it, I'll probably be turning the ruler around 10 times. One of the things I like about these rulers, well, 1,000 things, but I like how fine the lines are, so you don't have to really guess what side to be on the line when you go to cut. So here I'm going to find my 45, which is right here. I know you can't see, but you're going to have to trust me. And I am going to line my 45 degree up. You know, I think I can scoot in a little bit. Let's do that. Yes, very good. I am going to line my 45 degree up right there. Make sure it's 45. This is going to go exactly to the point. And I better make sure these things are stacked up neatly. They are. Right now, every single thing is on straight of grain, you guys. As soon as I start doing these cuts, the nasty bias is going to start coming out. Whoops. Sorry that I'm fiddle-faddling here. All right, so I'm going to take that cut. All right. Now I have to do it on this side too. So I'm going to take that 45, which is right here, and I don't want it crooked like that, right, you guys? Get it right on there. And I'm going to cut off this side. Now I've got the diamonds for my block. I'm going to pan out a little bit. So I hope you guys enjoyed the master class. I certainly did. Oh, somebody wanted to know where is it because it's not under classrooms. You're right. That's as a new member is very as wrong, and where it is it's under the shows. So I'm building my basket block. Watch a show. It's right there. Aren't these just the cutest? Now what's this? What's this? What's this? God, could I have cut that wrong? Anything is possible. Let's put this here. No, wait. I'm doing this upside down, which makes it a little trickery. This here. This triangle. These are quarter square triangles. And then I have my two rectangles that go here, here. Now we're talking. Now we are talking. Okay. The first thing I want you to do is on the square. I'm looking at my thing. Okay, on the square, on the wrong side, you're going to come in a 1/4 inch this way and a 1/4 inch that way, and you're going to make a dot. If you don't know what that is, you can use your ruler in order to figure it out, but I know my 1/4 inch. This is that purple pen that disappears in like about 3 to 7 days. Or you can use the little eraser thing right there down here. If you make a boo-boo, you can just erase it and go like that, and it goes away. It will. Give it a sec. Okay, then that's going to go here. And on the wrong side here, oops, wrong side of the pen, right? Oh, Friday was something else. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, this is really hard for me upside down. Okay, what we're going to do first is we're going to do this section and this section. All right, so let me just get these out of the way and move this over here. And I'm so excited because I figured out how to do a third camera. So in looking at this, I'm going to do this seam first. If you look at the bottom of page 11, you're going to go in here, put a number 1 right there, put a number 1 right there, put a number 2 at that caret. That's what we call these in publishing, carets. Put a number 2 there, and down here put number 3. And we're back into when weirdo shapes don't line up. So what's going to happen is I'm going to line up this right here, this outside tip, and you're going to see that you have this leftover right up there. The important thing is to line up the outside tip. Now I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to sew it from the outside edge to the ink, the 1/4 inch, and I'm going to back stitch. Okay? Whenever there is a little dot there, you stop and you back stitch. Hey, now you got to see what John bought. You won't believe this. Look at this. Look at this, you guys. You can see. How about that? Thank you, John. Now I'm going to get going. I like that I'm starting with this cloth here because it's going to keep the little tips from getting all bungled up. So I have to go slow too, otherwise it's going to bounce all over. Okay, now some of your machines take an extra stitch, so you got to plan ahead on that. Mine does not. So I back stitched. All right, now I'm going to cut it. And actually, I'm going to then just feed this in again so it doesn't eat up the tip. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the other diamond. I'm going to pull out a little bit. This technology is something else. This other little diamond, I'm going to line up the tip again, the point, just like that. All right. And then then what you're going to do is, I can't see the dot, right? It's on the underneath side. So I'm going to turn it over and, uh-oh, I hear John coming in. Is there a problem?
Yeah, the camera thing got shrunk.
Oh, the camera thing got shrunk? What do you mean?
made the screen go small?
I don't know. Go take a look. It looks good on mine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here. I'm going to pull very, very gently because right now I'm going to tell you this is an exposed bias. This is an exposed bias. And so it goes on. You've got to handle them so carefully. So I'm going to go to the little dot, take a little stitch forward, take a little stitch back. You must, is it working now?
It's working,
Okay.
but you're really far in. If you unzoomed a little.
He thinks I'm too close in, but I know you guys want to see what's going on. Back stitch, maybe even another one. I hated it when my machines, when you told it to back stitch and it took an extra stitch. That made me crazy. Oh, it's shifting a little bit. That's not good. Okay, cut. And again, before I had a thread cutter, I would just go in and lead out with one of these. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check and see if I can see background here. I can. That's exactly what you want. If it's over stitched like this, you got to take your seam ripper and just kind of take it apart like that. All right. Then what you're going to do, oh, I see what John's talking about. Oh, I can't do anything about that. I'm going to fold these guys together. All right. Let me go over to this camera here. Rick, our editor, was very impressed that I could do this. So here it was like this. I could change cameras. And then I'm going to go fold it together. I'm going to line those tips up. And then I'm going to sew from the center out. Truly, you could do either way. I might even pull this up a little bit like that. Okay. Let me go back to here. So something interesting is happening with Quilts Inc. That's the spring market, fall market. We're going to have this is not open to the public. This is not to tease you, but I'm having to learn even more technology. They're going to do 2 days of schoolhouse. Schoolhouse is when, say if you have a new book that comes out, you don't have to backstitch here. You have 30 minutes to tell store owners what your products are. And they run for a day. There's usually about 10 schoolhouses at the same time going on. Well, in this case, they can only have one schoolhouse going on at the same time, so it's going to be a marathon for 2 days. There. Doesn't that look good? Now what I'm going to do is, I got to do the other one, but I've got to press this. Whoa, I got to press this thing. What I'm going to do is, now let's talk about where the biases are. I can see that there's one here. It's easier to see on the back side. And I can see that there's one here. So I've got one here and here. When I go to press, I am going to press this open like this. I'm going to take my iron. I'm going to come up and off, and that is it. Well, why don't I show you? You want the least amount of pressing as humanly possible. So I'm going to open this up, nice firm surface. I'm going to come up. I'm going to come off. That is it. I'm not going to get all in that business there. I can do that when it's finished. That's to press the seam open. Now, to press the seam, these guys, I'm going to turn it over. There's my bias. This is straight a grain. I can be sloppy on the side with straight a grain, all right? But the side with the bias, I'm going to come up. The iron is never even going to touch that bias. That's it. I am simply moving the seams into the direction I want them to be sewn. You can press like a cuckoo bird when the whole thing's done. All right, so let's do this one again. So I'm going to do this one first. Line this tip up. Remember, you're going to have that little doodah there. In Master Class 2 of piecing, I think I said this the other day, there's going to be one that's called when, my little segment called When Weirdo Shapes Don't Line Up. I am just so amazed at the depth and the breadth of what we have at TQS. I think when we did those master classes, we're like 335 or something. Okay. Now I'm going to put this one here. Oh, sorry. This one here. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to take a little back stitch at the dot and sew to the tip. You know, I was even thinking about it too. When the tip was shifting on the other one, why didn't I just put in a little drop of glue to keep it in place? Why didn't I do that? Well, that's not in place. So let's get it in place. Okay.
Switch cameras to switch cameras.
Wait, I don't have this right. John says I have to switch cameras. I figured I didn't have to this round. Okay. So here we go. I know what I need now, John. I need one of those things you put in your ear so you can talk to me. But then I might kill you. Okay. Hey, that little bit of glue worked. A little dab will do ya. Oh, God, remember that. Dippity-doo. Gosh, that was when I was in junior high. I should have cut that through. Okay. And now, is this open? Can I see the background? Yes. So I'm going to sew. Actually, this one you can sew in either direction. I'm going to actually start with the tip. You can go in either direction. You put an arrow on both ends. It looks like something's cut a little wrong there too. Well, we'll see what happens. Not as wrong as Friday. I have to tell you, I was not feeling it with this quilt, if you happen to be honest. And then, came unthreaded. And then when I discovered what I was going to do for my broderie purse, I got so excited I couldn't stand it. Oh, look at this. I know. Okay, now I'm going to show off. I know how to use my needle threader. You bring it down, you loop, and it only took me 35 years to figure this out. I have a camera right in front of my face, so it's kind of unfair warfare. Get that there. I do like it that the machine tells me when it's unthreaded or when my bobbin runs out. Ooh, that's a long piece. Okay, back to this. I want to start with that little piece. There we go. All right. So again, you can actually sew in either direction. Now I know that there's a dot in there. I can't see it. I can see it there. So I'm just going to sew up to where I know the dot is. Don't sew all the way to the edge and then go back. And there you go. Looking good to me. Oh, I see Sparrow coming. I wonder if she's going to come. She's probably just going to go straight to her basket. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to press it again. And it bears to have me demo it because I had somebody saying, please do this next because I'm having such problems. My guess is it was in the pressing, to be quite frank, because you just have so many opportunities to screw it up. So I'm going to go up and down. I'm going to turn it over. That's a bias. I can see it. If you can't see a bias, oh, she's here. Sarah, no. Okay, there we go. If you don't know bias, commission yourself to learn it, okay, to figure out where it is. All right, so now we got to put this guy together, and it's going to be the same darn thing. Again, remember, I put a dot. That's going to go down where the Y is. That's why it's called a Y seam. And I'm going to, let me see, I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to line it up exactly to the outside edge. This square lines up exactly. I think the thing, and I'm going to sew down to the dot and back stitch. I think the reason people get wigged out on blocks like this is because, I mean, this is a very unusual looking union that's going on here. Oh, one more stitch, take a back stitch. And if you overstitch, it's no big deal. Okay, guys, you just pick it out with your seam ripper. All right, we're going to go a little long because this is a little more complicated. Okay, so now I'm going to line up. I've got to go back to this one. I'm going to line up this here. I want this to line up, this outside edge. Bring this around. Yeah, I didn't do a lot of chit chat at the top because I knew this one was going to take more time. And then I'm going to sew it from the dot out. And what do we do at the dot? Backstitch. So anyways, I'm getting pretty excited about my Bernina Q20. We have it all. We have to figure out when it can be delivered, etc. And oh, I can't wait. I'm actually hoping I can quilt this quilt on it. That's what my wish is. So then you'll really see some learning going on. Then what I'm going to do, I got to go back to this. Oh, this is kind of important. So what I'm going to do is this. Now I have to sew this together here. Now, these guys here have to line up, just like the Lemoyne. If these seams do not line up, it's never going to be what you want it to be. So I have pressed them open, right? I call this the roll technique when pinning, because we're so used to seams butting against each other. So you see, I'm going to go like this. I'm going to roll them together. That good old 1/16 of an inch on the top. That good old 1/16 of an inch on the bottom. Then gingerly, I'm going to open it up. Yeah, that's good. The line's going across. And now I'm going to sew. I'm going to choose to sew from where the dot is hidden, where I'm going to backstitch, out. Oh, good. I didn't like how drippy that looked. That thread hanging there. I'm handling it so carefully, guys. I know that dot is in there. Worst case scenario, again, if I overstitch, because I've taken 2 to 3 backstitch, you just pick out one and you're going to be fine. If you don't backstitch, it's going to fall apart on you. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Okay, there we go. And if you know anything, you know I was saying close your eyes. All right. All right. Let's take a look. Whoops, just dropped my snippers. All right. So let's just say a little prayer. Yes. Yay. So now I'm going to go to my ironing board again, and I am only going to press that. That's it. Oh, it'd be nice if you could see it, right? This way. I am only going to press this open. That's it. That. In other words, don't go all the way down to the end there, because there's my bias. Then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm just going to get the seams going in the direction they need to go to sew on the next part. The rest of this we can just iron till the cows come home when we're done. All right, so let's take a look at what's going on here. We've got this here. We've got this here. We've got this here and this here. Okay, let's do the 2 sides and the footings. Again, this is when weirdo shapes don't line up. I want you to line up the long, straight edge, all right? So I'm going to line that up. This is the seam I'm going to sew. Now here's another one. Heads up on this, big time. I'm going to go like this. Let me get this arranged, and then I'm going to pull the camera out if I can. No, let me go back to here. What you're going to do, guys, is as you feed it into your sewing machine, you're going to want to make sure you've got mirror images going on here. If they're all marching in the same direction, these triangles, it's not going to work. So let me just quickly do this. And let me do the other. If you just follow the pictures and the instruction that I have been giving you, you're going to be just fine. But is this a beginning block? Oh, heck no. Now, the other thing that's going to be really counterintuitive is you're going to want to press towards the rectangle. All right, just trust me. Here is an exposed bias. So what am I going to do? I'm going to come up and off with my iron. Now next Wednesday, we're going to do the spool, and it's going to be child's play after this. Although it does have Y seams. Okay, so now we have here. Oh, I've got to sew this onto here. Now first, and then I'll sew this on here and this on here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, and I showed you this a couple times already, I'm going to find the center of this. And I am going to line it straight up to here. Drop a little pin in just anywhere. And then that you'll see it centers it just fine. And also this should almost be, will kind of be coming right down the middle. It doesn't look like it is right now, so I don't like that. But again, while it's a tricky block, it's a forgiving block. Now here's where it's crazy. I'm going to turn it over because I want to see this, all right? And I don't want to over sew that. So let's sew this together. I'm going to line this up here. Oh gosh, I'm being so careful because there's biases everywhere. I know for newbies, and people say, well, what do I care about the biases? Oh my gosh, you care everything about them. You see right in there? I'm going to sew right a hair to the raw edge. That's a great little attachment that John got from my sewing machine. I hope it doesn't wreck it, if you want to be honest. Okay. And then that little pin. Looks good to me. Now I have to press this seam going that way. Straight a grain there, bias there. So probably I'll come up this way and do it. Straight a grain, bias. Now I talk a tough game. In real life, I don't know. So now we've got to sew these guys on, correct? I'm going to line up the outside edge, sew it on. I have to tell you, somebody said about Friday, oh, I wish I'd known what was going on in your head. I have to tell you what was going on in my head. I simply panicked. I didn't know whether just to cut the whole thing off or try and solve it or whatever. The language of quilting didn't even really kick in till later. So now I'm going to come up. Here's an exposed bias. I hope you guys are getting the gist of how important that is. It's that little kite still hanging on to it. Okay. And then line up this straight edge. Let me just sew it. I don't need to switch cameras for that. It's just a simple seam, right? I've made a lot of quilts out of basket quilts, and I'm partial to this one, and I'm also partial to the postage stamp basket too. I just think they're so cute. I mean, it just can't get better than this. We're on the home stretch, guys. All right, so let me just go and press that right there. All right, stay away from those biases. Now, here's the thing. To line up, there's a reason I had you press these guys this way and this way. This will exactly fit in there, and you know where to line up. the tips will all line up. And I can see here it's working because the point 2 is coming right here. I am going to turn it over and sew so that I can see that crosshatch and not cut over it. So here we go, last seam, cute as can be. So you can see where I'm coming here, right there. And when you watch Sally Collins in the master class, I mean, she takes it like, she steps it up like way more than even what I've done here by a long shot. I think she's one of the best teachers in the US of A. And I don't know that she's on the circuit anymore. All right. Okay, so there we go. Now, as far as the back goes, this is a mumbo jumbo mess. Now, because of all the biases are sewn up, you can go and press it beautifully and maybe even throw a little shot of Mary Ellen's or flatter or whatever. So that's how you do this adorable little basket. John, you have questions? Questions from the people? Oh, on this one, I'm using on my Bernina, I'm using the 37D. If you're on a Bernina with the dual feed function and you don't have the dual feed engaged, it's going to sew really screwy. So if it's a 37D, or if you don't have the dual function, you can also just use a 37 and you'll be just fine. I hate Y seams. No. Do you starch fabrics? I don't accept that. Do you starch fabric? Acorn Easy Prep, no, so no stretching. Yeah, you can starch your fabric. I don't. I mean, you can use Acorns, Mary Ellen's, or whatever, but I'm just so careful. But yeah, maybe you should put a little shot of spray starch on it. Nice catch. All right, anything else? Do you like Bernina best? Well, you know, for quilting, yeah. I got my first Bernina when Adair was, I think, about 2 weeks old or something, and she's 36. For piecing, yeah, and I'll tell you, this is not the top of the line. The 700 series is glorious, absolutely glorious, and that's what I'm on. I'm on the middle 700. There's a low-end 700, a medium, and a high-end. The low end does not come with a stitch regulator, all right? And you can never add embroidery to it. The medium comes with the stitch regulator, no embroidery, but you can add that to it. And then the high end comes with the whole bananas. There's so many features on it. If you get a machine like this, you're gonna have to take lessons, because I'd say any high end machine, you guys, these are, I mean, they're computers. Let's get real. All our high end machines are computers. And they're like, think about when you first started learning your computer. It's layer after layer after layer. I say it's like an onion. And so if you have just recently purchased a high-end machine, don't get scared, don't get frustrated, just peel off that outside layer and go from there. So was that all that was? Yeah. Let's see. Thank you. She made a quilt that didn't turn out well. It hasn't pieced since, Ricky says. Okay, there's one other thing I want to tell you real quick. Get out your calendars. Next Tuesday, I have it written down, May 26th, Tuesday at 1 o'clock Pacific time, we will be hosting a Quilter Select event. This is where I was the night when Gavin Newsom shut down our state. I was at an event down in Southern California. And basically, we run through the products and we show you all the really cool things you can do with it. And it's Judy Fredenberg is going to be the primary educator on it. I will be on the sidelines like you guys, answering questions and stuff. But if you want to find products to help your quilting experience, you might just want to block off this time. And the thing is when you're in a live event, like in blood, in person, you know, there can maybe only be 200 people. But on here, we can take as many people as you want. Now, the exact details, stay tuned. This is something else I'm just learning right now. But just put on your calendar, if you're all interested, next Tuesday at 1 o'clock Pacific time. Oh, also, we'll be giving away prizes and stuff like that too. So that might be worth your time. So you guys, I just want to thank you for your time today, and we'll do spools on Wednesday. One other thing I want to talk about. As you start, like maybe one of the most important things, as you start putting up your blocks, you can see I built this on, I cut this, and I cut this. Now I'm really paying attention to where the colors are, okay? So for instance, this that I got from my friend Robin had this really dark red in it. So I remade this block to bring in that color, and I remade this block to bring in that color. You can also use these little guys here, the little 4 patches, to bring in colors that you feel you need more of. So the other thing is, I was going to bring in another green. I did bring in another green, but I was going to bring in another green, and I decided to leave it at that. This is when it's really important that you have a good stash, because you can get up there and start assessing what's going on. Don't wig out about the embroidery purse stuff in the middle. But if you like this, let's say you go, I want to do something completely different. Please do. So this has been fun. I didn't screw it up. I did 3 cameras. So it's a good day in Livermore, California. Hey, you guys, thanks for your time. Have a good one.